if you only list your vacation home.
Shalom, shalom, peace and love to everybody. Shalom, Jeremiah. Shalom, Ramon. All right, today I'll be dropping a lesson on the Gabriel revelation. Right, a lot of people don't know, but those who do know. But those who don't know are gonna in the next, I will say, next few years, you're going to see a big movement of the so-called Jewish people basically converting to the New Testament because they have found this Gabriel scroll about 13 years ago or something like that that was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Around the same area. And it dates back to prior, uh, before Christ, right? Now, on this stone, uh, it basically talks about how there's going to be a suffering servant who was going to die for the nation of Israel, right? And then resurrect after 3 days and bring in a new covenant, as they say. So we're going to read probably maybe a few articles on it. And then I'm going to show you a video. Well, I'm going to try to show you a video of the archaeologists and the linguistics speaking about it over there in the land of Israel and showing you guys the proof. And then this video is going to be pretty powerful. But you're going to have to be a little bit patient with me about the video because I'm going to be going from video and then putting the disclaimer on the screen probably every few minutes, right? Because, that's how YouTube's been working, right? But that's what we're going to get into tonight. So stay tuned. Shalom. This is going to be a big dagger to the non-Messianics. If you can, tag those clowns, Yeshua, what's his name, Yeshua, and those Edomite Jews, the Amalek Jews that are non-believers. Well, they're going to have to, start explaining these scrolls, which predates Christ, which a lot of people are talking about. It's a messianic or messianism movement that's growing in the land of Israel today, right? Right. Shalom, oh yeah, shalom, estudiante. Shalom, brother. Shalom. Like I said, we're about to get into a lesson in a few seconds. Let me just prepare. I'm just trying to find I'm trying to find the article that I want because I already pulled up the video. So just bear with me and give me a few minutes to find it. All right, I think I found it. All right. Okay, that's the video. And that's the article. All right. So let's dive into it. So, those who are tuning in, sorry, I ain't gonna be no drama tonight, but we are gonna learn some new things though, right? So let's keep it that way. So let me share my screen and let's get into it. All right, let me make this bigger so you brothers and sisters can read along with me, right? Let's see what that looks like. Does something happen? There we go. All right. Shalom, Malak, Shalom. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about Gabriel's revelation, right? And let's start reading, right? This is Gabriel's revelation. Interest in Gabriel's revelation, right? Let me see. Go down to it. Gabriel's revelation by Etta Yardini and Israel Null. In this ebook, discover the meaning of the inspiration of Gabriel's revelation on a 1st century BC Dead Sea Scroll in stone. Read the original English translation of Gabriel's revelation along with the article that made scholars around the world reconsider links between ancient Jewish and Christian Messianism, right? Messianism, right? All right, hold on for a second. Baby boo, here, talk to mommy. Right? And it says, the whole world is talking about Gabriel's revelation. Israel's museum curators have called it the most important document found in the area since the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The script dates to the tune of the era, just like a Dead Sea Scroll. The inked writing is laid out in prepared columns, just like a Dead Sea Scroll. The text contains Bible like prophecies, just like some of the Dead Sea Scrolls. But this document isn't a scroll at all, it's a stone slab, right? This free ebook shares two definition publications on the article that has led biblical archaeologists to reconsider ancient Jewish perceptions of messianic figures. Published just in time for the Israel Museum exhibit, I Am Gabriel, a scroll in stone from the time of Herod. This ebook provides translation and context for the artifacts and contemporary belief systems. Ader Yuduni Biblical Archaeology Review article, a, a new Dead Sea Scroll in stone was first published of an English translation of the artifact in 2008. Later that year, Israel Kombar followed up. The Messiah, son of Joseph, caused an enormous stir as Noel deciphered a line reading, "In 3 days shall live." Noel understands these lines from Gabriel's revelation to mean in 3 days you shall return to life, be resurrected. Noel translations and discussion. Reprinted in full in this free ebook have been a subject of recent discussion in an international publications from the Telegraph to Fox News, right? Says Noel's translation of the first century BC inscript of Gabriel's revelation and its revelation on Jewish messianism predate the life of Jesus. What does Gabriel's revelation tell us about the Jewish concept of the Messiah leading up to the life of Jesus? Download the free ebook to read Ada Yardini's analysis of the artifact and Israel Know's discussion of the Jewish origins of the suffering Messiah and resurrection on the third day. Now, before I keep reading, people, right? Um, for all you non-messianics who talk about Christ and oh, no one died and resurrected, and no one who's the suffering servant was Israel, then why are we reading right from the scholars from the Gabriel Stone about somebody, right, a messianic figure who was going to be a suffering servant and was going to die and be resurrected after 3 days to live, right? You know what I'm saying? Shalom SIH mascot. Oh, okay, that was the same brother that was here. I believe last time, right? Let me see. Let me make sure. Maybe, I don't think that was him. That was probably somebody else. But shalom, brother. Shalom, Asiatic Seven Churches. All right, let me get back to reading on the article. So that, right? I don't know why it ends there. I swear it was a lot longer. But as you see to the left here, that is the actual stone slab that they found of the Gabriel scroll. And again, the reason why we're bringing this out today is for the non-Messianics that don't know this information, like people like Yeshua and those Edomite Jews over here in the Americas. So I guess I'm gonna try to play the video now. And like I said, be patient because every few minutes I'm gonna have to stop it and put the Copyright Act so that my video will not be taken down. Okay. I know it's gonna be a pain. It might take a little time, but it's going to happen. But this video is very is pretty good, and it's going to be a very powerful message, I believe, around the end of the video. It's going to be something pretty powerful, and we're going to expose it all. Because again, this is why, if you guys remember, I did a live, what was that, like last week or something, a week and a half ago, talking about how many, maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about how many of the Jewish people have been converting to Christ, right? And I guess that video rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, right? But let's get into the video. And like I said, every few minutes I'm gonna stop it and put the Copyright Act. So just be prepared that you're gonna see the Copyright Act a lot of times while I'm playing this video. All right. Let me share. Okay.
This is a photograph of a unique and mysterious 2,000-year-old tablet or stone. This is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Christians come to celebrate and commemorate the resurrection of Jesus 3 days after the crucifixion. This may shake up that. The stone emerged from the antiquities market, and incredibly, the ancient Hebrew text can still, for the most part, be easily read. The key line is this: I, Gabriel, command you, the Prince of Princes, in 3 days, live.
Damn. Like, again, people, why are we? Why did we just find, like I said, a stone slab that dates before Christ that talks about a prince of prince that's going to be risen after 3 days and he shall live. Um, I thought that was Christianity. I thought that's what the the Council of Nicaea put into the minds of the people to push their Greek ideologies onto us Jews, right? Um, then how come we're finding a tablet written by Jews saying these things, right? Oh, my fault. I keep forgetting. Keep forgetting. After a few seconds, I can't just be leaving the screen open because they'll shut me down, right? So you'll be seeing this a lot during this video. And already, just by the opening of the video, it's pretty interesting. But what you're really going to find funny is how, you know how Jews are when they find something about Christ, they try to give you all these excuses about, oh, it's not talking about Christ though. But wait a minute, if it's not talking about Christ, and they're going to say, well, you're going to find out, they're going to narrow it down to this guy named Simon, right? And things of that nature. But we all know who it's really talking about. And again, it's in their Hebrew text. So they can't get around this stuff anymore. They're going to have to start dealing with the archaeology, right? They can't play stupid anymore. So let me get back to the video. Here he is. And let's play it.
Now, that may sound strange to the modern ear, but when I first heard about it, I almost fell off my chair. I mean, we're talking about a 3-day resurrection. If it's referring to Jesus, this bit of archaeology is the earliest archaeological artifact that refers to him. If it predates Jesus, then who is this Christ-like figure that we didn't know about before? Who is this Jesus before Jesus? To decode the stone, we have to figure out, when was it written? Where did it come from? And first, who is this Gabriel mentioned on the stone?
In both the Hebrew and Christian Bibles, Gabriel is an angel whose main job is to announce the Messiah. In the Gospels, he's the angel who announces to the Virgin Mary that she will give birth to Jesus. On the stone, Gabriel is not speaking to a woman. Rather, he is talking to a prince of princes, code word in Jesus' time for a Messiah. So the inscription seems to speak of a Messiah who dies, and is ordered by the angel Gabriel to rise again after 3 days. Until now, this has been associated only with Jesus. But renowned biblical scholar Israel Knoll, who brought the stone to light, believes that the stone predates Jesus.
Here we have, for the first time, an evidence to the belief in the death and resurrection after 3 days of a messianic leader existed even before the time of Jesus.
Y'all hear it for yourselves, right? The stone predates even the time of Jesus, people, of a Messiah figure who was going to die and resurrect after 3 days, right? And again, like I said, be patient because I have to do this because everybody see that in the past, 3 of my videos were taken down while playing them. So every like 2 minutes or something like that, you're gonna keep seeing the copyright disclaimer. Okay. I know YouTube sucks, but that's the way you have to do it, and just to make sure that my video does not get taken down, because when it gets taken down, many people won't be able to see it. you would have to basically click when you go onto my channel and click videos, and that would be the only way you can watch videos like that has been taken down for me, which I've already told you, which is like 3, right? Right. So, like I said, back and forth. Be patient.
I can already hear some of the objections. What are you saying here? That Jesus was a copycat? And I must say that's a totally unhistorical way of approaching the issue. If you think that Jesus was influenced by no one, and he knew exactly where he was going, and he landed like an alien from outer space, there's no point looking at any archaeology. But if you put Jesus in his historical context, first century Judea, he was, after all, a first century Jew, then you suddenly have to say, wait a minute, here's a man living in a country under Roman occupation. Clearly he's going to be influenced by people, and he's going to influence people.
When it comes to this stone, now known as the Gabriel Inscription, Knoll's theory is that Jesus was influenced by someone, since the stone predates Jesus. But does it? The answer depends on whether the inscription was written before the crucifixion. And to find out, Simca comes to the ancient city of Jaffa in Israel to meet with Robert Deutsch. Deutsch is an epigrapher, a specialist in ancient inscriptions. He's also one of Israel's foremost licensed dealers in antiquities. So he should be able to explain how artifacts like the Gabriel stone are dated.
It has here a poster of the inscription.
Deutsch is using a full-size paper copy of the stone, prepared by the academics who studied it.
The Gabriel inscription is a very important inscription. The text is important. The development of the shape of the letter dates the piece.
What do you mean that you can date it from the shape of the letter?
It develops like a car. The shape of a car, it was never the same before, and it will never be the same after that.
So if you find a car, you can say what year it was.
Exactly. This is typology, which is a...
You heard it, people. So you have the linguistics in Israel who can tell the dating of the writings by, like you just said, like almost like how you view a car, right? So you can tell, you know what, and it's funny, when I remember, if you guys remember or recall, when I dropped the class on, I believe it was the Native American and Prophecy, I believe it was the first one or the second one, when I was showing you guys the similarities between the Mormon book and how it was written in like Egyptian hieroglyph, and how I tied it to the Micmac tribe, which was around the same area you found the Book of Mormon, right? And you saw that how I showed the similarities of the writings between the Book of Mormon and the Micmac tribe. So just like the Book of Mormon, according to that history, goes back thousands of years, and they compared it to the Micmac tribe recently, we can see exactly how writing systems develop. They always change after time, right? Same thing with all languages, and even the way we even speak languages. You have proper English until look how many of us speak English now, right? Even according to Spanish, right? You have people who speak Spanish. Well, a lot of Puerto Ricans or Mexicans, if they would go to Spain and speak Spanish, those Spaniards over there would tell them, bro, you're speaking Spanish wrong, or you're speaking like a Spanglish, right? Because again, languages always develop, right? So, like I said, you're gonna keep doing this, so just be patient. But very powerful information that's going to be dropped.
The very, very accurate tool.
To illustrate the point, in the 1st century BC and early 1st century AD, the Hebrew letter Lamed, L in English, had a long neck and then lost it. During the same period, the kuf, or K, lost its little cap. And the mem, the letter M, initially square, became rounded, losing its squiggles in the process. Using these techniques, Deutsch agrees with Professor Knoll, dating the Gabriel inscription to a time just before Jesus' crucifixion, possibly before his birth.
And it dates to the 1st century BC and the beginning of the 1st century AD.
So, the inscription seems to predate.
Blessed are those who mourn, for it is not the will of my Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish.
Jesus, but not by much. Jesus.
1st century BC and the beginning of the 1st century AD.
Okay, see, this is this is why Esau is such a devil, right? You just heard what this man just said, right? That it dates anywhere from 1st century BC, right? And the beginning of the 1st century AD. So anywhere from 1st century BC to the 1st century AD. But what did this guy just say right after he said that?
So, the inscription seems to predate Jesus.
Yeah? So Jesus lived in second AD? Huh? In the 2nd century AD? The guy just said it dates anywhere from 1st century BC to the 1st century AD. Did not Christ live in the 1st century AD? Yes, he did. And this is why I keep telling you, Esau is such a demon. You know what I'm saying? We all just heard it. Matter of fact, we'll play it one more time. Like I said, we all just heard what he said, but right after that, he says, "Oh yeah, so this stone predates Christ." That's not what the guy just said.
For his birth.
And it dates to the 1st century BC and the beginning of the 1st century AD.
So, the inscription seems to predate Jesus.
You see that? Man, these guys are cloud shoes, bro. Like I told you, a lot of those Jews would try to do anything to try to deny Christ, like the narrator is trying to do, obviously. But again, who else could it be? But you notice what they're trying to do is basically saying that Jesus was influenced by this Gabriel scroll. Oh man, you non-Messianics are funny, man. Funny. But I thought no one resurrected after 3 days. I thought there was no none of that stuff in your Hebrew text. Oh, but now that you guys found something, right, that's around the Dead Sea Scroll times, oh, now it all makes sense. Oh, but yeah, it's still not Jesus though. It's still not Christ. You guys are crazy, bro. These people are crazy. But you're gonna find out. It's gonna take a nice little turn.
But not by much. To hone in on a more precise date, Simca needs access to the inscription. But the problem is that the stone belongs to an Israeli collector, David Jesselson, who lives in Switzerland.
Hi, Dr. Jesselson, it's Simcha.
And he won't give Simca access to the artifact.
Do you think I can say anything or do anything to convince you to let us just take a little look?
Simca isn't surprised. He believes that David Jesselson is like many collectors who don't like investigative journalists around artifacts they've purchased from sometimes shady antiquities dealers.
Well, okay, if you change your mind, I think you have my email and...
Simca is determined to see the stone, but since he can't get access to the real one, he's commissioning artist Dana Bendov to make him a replica, using photographs published in scholarly journals.
Since we don't have access to the stone itself, this is a real one-to-one copy.
Okay, so
This stone, it's 3 feet high and 1 foot wide, and it's very, very, very unusual. It's got columns, it's got an incision, The letters are hanging from the lines. It's not inscribed, which is unusual for a stone. It's painted.
Okay, with ink.
With ink. So what I'd like you to do, because that's what you do for a living, is make me
this.
make me this. Exactly.
Right. So as we see, right, he tried to get the to examine the original stone, but of course, the owner doesn't allow anybody to view his collections, right? Hold on, like I said, I gotta keep doing it so they won't take my video down. One love, shalom, shalom, one love. What we're talking about today, I don't know if you read the title of my live, it's called The Gabriel's Revelation. And what we're discussing today is how they found a, a scroll slab that dates around 1 century BC that talks about a suffering Messiah that would die and basically be resurrected after 3 days, right, by the archangel Gabriel. Okay, so right now what we're doing is proving to the non-Messianics that we even have older writings that predates the New Testament of a suffering servant that would bring in a new covenant and will be resurrected after 3 days. All right.
Building replicas is a highly specialized discipline, and the work begins right away. From the original photograph, the team of reproduction experts are using 3D computer and laser technology to recreate the multiple layers of the stone. From the painstaking carving process to laying on the letters precisely as they appear on the original stone, making the reproduction as close to a perfect copy as possible. This should help Simca figure out its date, origin, and meaning. Though some have questioned Knoll's reading, no archaeologists have challenged him. Simca now shows the reproduction to Professor Knoll, who has moved beyond deciphering the text to decoding its earth-shattering message.
In 2007, an ancient stone came to the attention of scholars that has the potential of shaking Christianity to its foundations. Dubbed the Gabriel Revelation, the text painted on the stone refers to a Messiah that lives, dies, and is resurrected after 3 days. The writing style, however, seems to suggest a time before Jesus. If the inscription is not referring to Jesus, who is it referring to? Who is this mysterious dying and resurrecting Messiah, and is he the original inspiration for Jesus and his followers?
When the stone's existence was first made public, a few scholars, including Israel Knoll, were allowed to study it. Immediately they recognized it as a genuine artifact. But
again, people, remember that, right? The scholars, the people the scholars, the people with the PhDs, they looked at the stone and they all said that it is genuine. They already know, they did the test. There's not forgery or fakes. So again, people, that's why I keep telling you, they want that archaeology. Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing it though. You've been seeing it, Jeremiah. I've been posting this every like 2 minutes. Watch, I've been posting. Well, I should have it up right now too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I've been posting this up like every 2 minutes, bro. All right. So, like I said, hopefully this works. Because I would just keep doing it. It's been working so far. I'm already like, what, little like 10 minutes already into the video and nothing bad has happened. So, I've been talking a little bit between scenes. So hopefully, it will work this way. And if it does, then I can start doing more classes like this, because this is what I like to do, bro. I like to break down people's videos and explain it maybe even further. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna just keep putting this disclaimer up every 2 minutes after whatever video I'm sharing. All right. So again, they can't get around this, people. You all heard what's being said. The archaeologists and all of them.
Since the stone is now out of circulation, Simca has brought a replica he commissioned to show Knoll.
Does it look like the original?
Very much, very much.
And look at this. Look at the lines.
Yeah, the lines, he did them very nice, yes.
Where are the key words? I just want to make sure.
Here is Leshloshet Yamin.
In 3 days.
Reading the Hebrew text, Professor Knoll begins to decode it. For Knoll, the key historical clue is a reference to 3 shepherds.
I have sent my people, my 3 shepherds.
3 shepherds.
Knoll thinks one of these shepherds, living around Jesus' birth, is the Messiah mentioned on the stone. Their story begins at the end of the 1st century BC with Herod the Great. Herod was appointed by the Roman Emperor Augustus to rule Judea and do Rome's bidding. He was a tyrant, hated by his subjects. Paranoid that a Christ-like figure would dethrone him, Herod is remembered in the Gospels as the ruler who killed innocent babies, fearing that one of them might be a Messiah. When Herod died in 4 BC, his death triggered a messianic fever.
Again, people, you guys just heard the story that they just said, right? Does that not sound like the New Testament? But you notice it says the 3 shepherds, right? Right? But then it talks about, doesn't the New Testament talk about who found Christ? The 3 kings, right? Then it would talk about Herod and how Herod was going around making decrees about killing the firstborn because he was scared of the Messiah. Where do we read that from, people? Oh yeah, the New Testament. Oh, but why is it usually when you talk to a non-Messianic, they'll tell you that story is fake. There was no Christ. Christ never existed. The 3 kings and Herod wanted to kill all the firstborns. Oh, that's all Christianity. Well, if it's Christianity, why do we have these Jews in the land of Israel talking about it right now? It's things like that make you go, But yet, you notice again, people, they're still playing dumb. As if, you know what it is? They're saying the story. And remember when I told you about, when I did the class about the Jews converting to Christ, right? What did I point out? I pointed out during that class how all the rabbis have been hiding the truth or don't let their congregations or their synagogues read the New Testament. But yet, I'm very sure the person who was doing this translation probably never even read the New Testament. But yet, he's telling a story that comes from the New Testament. Nobody finds that to be funny, huh? Good thing it's not slipping past the Most High's chosen ones. We know exactly what's being said here.
Rebellion broke out on 3 fronts across the country.
This was the beginning. This is the place where the serious rebellion started here, at this point where we sit here now.
Was this a nationwide revolt?
Yes, Israel was literally burning during this rebellion. Yes. there were three centers for this rebellion, three messianic leaders. One, Judah in the Galilee, the second one, Atonges in Emmaus, and the third one, Simon from the Perea, from the area of Transjordan.
Suddenly, our idea of the world that Jesus was
Okay. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah. I want to rewind it just a little bit because I want to show you what they did, bro. Right? Look at the pictures right here, right? This is, oh, look, Simon. This is not the depiction of Simon. When you go to the Dura synagogue, it doesn't say that this is Simon. But why did they put this picture here trying to claim that, oh, yeah, this is what they're talking about what Simon looks like? Ah, man, the scholarship is weak, bro. This image is from the Dura synagogue, which is in I believe Iraq. Oh man, the poor scholarship, right? But we'll let that slide for now.
From the Perea, from the area of Transjordan.
Suddenly, our idea of the world that Jesus was born into seems very different from anything that we heard about in Christmas carols. I mean, this was no tranquil land with shepherds tending their flock and wise men.
Are you guys hearing what he's comparing it to? To Christmas stories and Christmas carols. You know why? Because they haven't read the New Testament. They haven't read it. All they go by is hearsay or what people have probably told them about Christ or around Christmas time. You know what I'm saying? This is why these guys right now are looking foolish as fuck. They're telling a story that can only be found in the New Testament, bro. That's specifically found in the New Testament. Three kings, Herod killing every firstborn because of the fear of a Messiah. A Messiah, is gonna be a suffering servant and resurrect after 3 days. Where is that coming from? The New Testament. That's all in the New Testament. And these guys are basically playing dumb right now because they haven't read the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep going.
Men following stars. This was a land riddled by political.
Imagine this is your writing group. Impatient.
Unrest and violence, rape, pillage, crucifixions, Jews against Romans. There was a revolution going on.
And there were not one, but three revolutionary leaders, or messianic shepherds. One of them seems to have inspired Jesus. But which one? Could it have been Atonges from Emmaus, which is just outside of Jerusalem?
Despite more than a century of digging here in Jerusalem, not a single Gabrielite stone, not one, has ever been found. I mean, ink, painted on stone, anything that resembles it. Now that's very significant because archaeologically speaking, if you have a tradition of memorializing people on stone, then you find more than one. So the fact that not a single one has been found in this area pretty much eliminates Atonges as the dying and resurrecting Messiah mentioned on the stone. Well, that eliminates him.
The next candidate is Judah. He operated in the Galilee close to Jesus' hometown of Nazareth. And there is one archaeological site associated with him, a place called Gamla. Gamla was a center of revolt before and after Jesus. 37 years after the crucifixion, it was utterly destroyed by the Romans, never to be resettled. Simca is here with archaeologist Danny Sion to see.
Again, people, you see what they're trying to do. Oh, now there's three shepherds. It has to be these different people, right? Right, Judah, the other dude, and they're about to get into Simon in a second. But you see what they're trying to do, right? Hold on, let me put the disclaimer. We all see what they're trying to do. And according to us real believers, we know what's really what and what's going on, right? So again, right now he's with another archaeologist. Again, people, that's what Vega does. When I try to show you guys proof, I bring out the linguistics experts, I bring out the archaeology experts, and all that. So these people can't get away with it. They love to talk about their Dead Sea Scrolls, their silver scrolls. Well, now they have to talk about the Gabriel Revelation slab, okay, which dates around almost the same time as the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? They can't get around this stuff any longer.
If there is any Gabrielite stone dating to the pre-Jesus Judah revolt, immediately inside the gate, they come across signs of the final destruction.
Essentially, you guys were the first to come in here since the destruction some 2,000 years ago.
That is correct. The general of the Roman armies came here leading 3 legions. 3 full legions is no less than 30,000 people. And then they brought up the siege machines and battering rams, and they used artillery barrage to bombard the city with ballista balls. Here's an example of one such ballista ball. This guy weighs about 5 kilos.
These things are coming raining down on your head.
Exactly.
How many have you found of these?
2,000.
2,000?
Yes. In addition to the ballistas, they used arrows. We found at Gamla 1,600 arrowheads, which is probably more than all the arrowhead finds in all of Europe put together.
But Simca is interested in earlier artifacts. Is there anything here related to the would-be Messiah called Judah of Galilee? As it turns out, in the period between Judah's revolt and the final destruction of Gamla in 67 AD, the people came back and rebuilt their city, except for one area, which they left untouched. Simca and Danny head there now, looking for signs of the messianic leader called Judah.
Mhm.
So what exactly are we looking at here?
Sometime round about the death of King Herod, this area was completely and totally abandoned.
So let me get this straight. This was a living, breathing place. And then suddenly, like a volcanic eruption, it comes to a grinding halt.
That is correct. But the bigger enigma is why nobody came back afterwards, because life went on around this area.
People living right around.
Right around.
Could it be that this place that we're standing is actually, in a sense, a monument to the revolt at the time of Judah? The timing is right with the death of Herod. And the reason that people lived around it but didn't enter it is because so many people died here, they didn't want to go into what, in essence, was a graveyard.
That is certainly acceptable proposition.
Simca's convinced that Judah, the messianic leader who led the revolution, left such an impression on the people of Galilee that sections of their towns were left as permanent memorials. But no Gabriel-like inscriptions have been found in Gamla. So this leaves Simca only one candidate for the Messiah before Jesus, Simon of Perea. Perea is located on the Jordanian side of the Dead Sea. It is here that the most famous writings ever found were unearthed. They are called the Dead Sea Scrolls and are housed in a special museum in Jerusalem. Discovered in 1948, the more than 2,000-year-old documents are the oldest biblical texts ever found.
What did it just say? that it's the oldest what, people? The oldest biblical text found, the Dead Sea Scrolls. But people talk about the Silver Scrolls, right? Why do we have experts? But we just had some clown named Yeshua talk about, no, the Silver Scrolls is the oldest scrolls. But yet we just hear from the anthropologists and the real professionals that just said that the Dead Sea Scrolls is the oldest biblical scrolls that we have. And it's funny because that's around the same area that they found the Gabriel Revelation slab at, right? Now, I don't know about you people, but I don't believe in coincidences, right? I don't know, many of us don't believe in that either, right? Like I said, this video is getting very interesting.
When scholars first studied the Gabriel inscription, they were struck by the fact that it looked like a Dead Sea Scroll on a stone. The similarities between the scrolls and the Gabriel inscription are impressive. Both are written in ink. On both, the text is written in 2 columns, and both have the Hebrew letters suspended from the upper guidelines. All this suggests that the stone, like the scrolls, originates from the shores of the Dead Sea. So in search of a Gabriel-like stone in the area of Perea, Simca travels here to meet with archaeologist Konstantinos Politis, who's been digging in this area for 20 years.
Well, this is our dig house for the last 20 years, so we've got our goodies in here too.
I'm excited about seeing the goodies.
Please, after you.
Wow, talk about goodies. Oh my God.
Well,
I don't think museums have this much. Oh.
Well, all this is going to go into the museum, but for the moment, it's in our storage. Pottery, mosaics.
You're not Julius Caesar, okay?
No, I'm not.
Human bodies in the background.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's about 50 bodies back there.
50?
Maybe more.
Yeah, this is really neat.
Among the artifacts unearthed by Politis, Simca is struck by ancient Jewish and Christian gravestones, reminiscent of the Gabriel inscription. But these don't have writings. However, Politis has a lot more artifacts in his overflowing archaeological workplace.
Well, there's a number of tombstones here. We're running out of space, so we just put them in this bathroom. But like these, for instance.
So what is that?
It's a marker above the burial.
Simca now understands that Gabriel-like stones can be grave markers. But everything Politis has shown him is inscribed, not painted, and written in Greek. The Gabriel inscription is written in Hebrew.
Well, let's see.
So again, people, what is the Gabriel stone written in? Not the Greek, in the Hebrew. So, Yeshua, can you explain why we have a Hebrew artifact written in Hebrew that talks about a suffering servant who's going to bring in a new covenant and is going to resurrect after 3 days? Where do you learn that from, sir? This is why he'll never hit that link and get that work. Same thing with those other clowns like Izzy and them. Always talking, that garbage that they learn. They will never see me on that type of a discussion. You know what I'm saying? Damn, I forgot to put up the disclaimer. Always got to remember the disclaimer. You know how Esau wants to take my videos down. Probably have Izzy and them right now reporting my page right now.
we've got under here. We've been here for a while, but yeah.
Look at that, my goodness. I have dust bunnies under my bed.
We can pull out some of them. Let's see.
Rough on the back.
Yeah, it's a bit. Here you go. That's a Jewish one.
Whoa!
Very simple.
It's faded, but this one is Hebrew.
Paulides now shows Simca several Gabriel-like Hebrew stones.
It's a tradition of writing in paint directly on the stone without engraving, and it seems to be more common amongst the Jewish ones.
We're here for a reason, and I think the Gabriel inscription seems to come from this area.
We know that in the Dead Sea area, there is this tradition of writing, painting letters on stone. It's not unlikely that the Gabriel inscription could also be coming from this area as opposed to other eastern desert areas.
By tracing the stone to Perea, the investigation seems to have linked the dying and resurrecting Messiah with Simon of Perea, the man who may have inspired Jesus. Only a few kilometers from where Paulides has found his Gabriel-like stones is the exact area where Simon began his revolution.
We're in an area in the land called Perea, which means in Greek, beyond the river, the Jordan River.
How does this relate to Simon of Perea?
Well, this is the land that he was in, and behind us we have this town of Machaerus, which is where he was living. A Roman, Byzantine, early Christian town, very similar to some of the buildings that have been built here. Same stones that have been reused here, same type of architecture, more or less.
So basically, when we talk about Simon of Perea, he might have lived in this village, and he might have lived in a house that looked not much different than this.
Oh, yes, very much so.
When Simon started his campaign, he seized this area first.
It's a natural strategic point.
So if you start a revolution, this is a good place to start it.
It's defended naturally, and you have a very good viewpoint right across the Dead Sea to Judea, so yes.
You read in Josephus that Simon of Perea led a revolt, that it was crushed. It's one thing. When you actually see, troughs, mills, houses, when you connect with the everyday life of human existence, to think of how it looked like or felt like when people were killed and sold into slavery and raped and crucified, there's an emotional connection for me.
The evidence is mounting that Simon is the Messiah memorialized on the stone, and the man who may have inspired Jesus. But if the Gabriel stone did come from Perea, how did it get to the west? Simca now goes inside an illegal Jordanian antiquities market to find out.
You got juice?
Yeah. Help me.
Like I said, you guys see what's going on. You guys see it for yourself. And we're going to keep exposing these lies. Now I say this Simon guy, but nowhere. I'm telling you, bro. Like I said, it's like I said, when we keep watching the video, it's going to be a surprise at the end because you're going to see a lot of positive things about it. Watch.
In 2007, Professor Israel Knoll drew the attention of scholars from around the world to a remarkable inscription painted on stone that refers to a Messiah that dies and is resurrected. The writing style seems to suggest a time before Jesus. The stone also talks about 3 shepherds, possibly 3 revolutionary leaders that instigate a revolution around the time of Jesus' birth. The archaeological trail has led us to one of them, Simon of Perea, modern-day Jordan. He was a would-be Messiah that died around 37 years before Jesus' crucifixion. But before we conclude that it is Simon and that he is indeed the model for Jesus, we have to make sure that we understand how a stone that originated in Perea, Jordan, made its way into the modern Western antiquities market.
If he can trace the Gabriel inscription back to the antiquities market in Perea, Simcha will be closer to linking the Messiah celebrated on the stone to the revolutionary leader called Simon of Perea.
Here we are, we're surrounded by literally hundreds of thousands of robbed out tombs. And if you look at the entire area, the whole hill above us,
All those dimples, all those holes in the side of the hill,
those are robbed out tombs.
looters too.
They come at night and they're digging quickly, but that hole could have several tombs underneath there.
And it's basically people who live around here.
The people are living on top of the cemeteries of that period. Underneath the houses, when they dig the foundations, they found these things.
And then when they sell one or two, they see they make some money. They maybe just walk a few hundred yards right here, dig it up and sell some more.
Exactly.
They get what, $100?
They get whatever they can get. They might get $10 or they might get 1,000, but usually we're talking about small amounts compared to what the middlemen are getting.
Because the middleman is the one who sells it to some, gets out of the country. So
He gets out of the country illegally. He connects with the art markets in London and Switzerland and New York, and then the price goes up astronomically.
How does the market work? If the Gabriel stone was dug up in Jordan, how exactly did it end up in the living room of a collector? For an antiquity to be legally sold, it needs to have been dug up by an archaeologist, and its authenticity needs to be verified. As Simcha has discovered, there is a vast underground commerce in illegal antiquities. Looters outnumber archaeologists and regularly dig up ancient artifacts, then sell them to dealers on the black market.
How are you? You speak English?
Our team now hooks up with one of those dealers. Transactions like this one take place in secret locations, as no one wants to be identified with this kind of illegal business.
How much for this?
10,000.
After buying artifacts from looters, dealers then sell their wares to collectors and tourists, but the whole thing is illegal.
15,000 GDs.
21,000 US.
20
This works for small souvenirs, but what about more significant artifacts like the Gabriel stone, which fetch a substantial price on the illegal market? To find out how the stone might have been smuggled out of Jordan, Simcha heads back to Israel to see Shlomo Musayev, the world's leading collector of biblical antiquities.
Hi, Shlomo.
How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Musayev's personal collection rivals some of the most notable museums in the world. These cases hold just a fraction of the thousands of pieces he has purchased. Simcha is astonished to discover that Musayev's collection also includes stones like the one Paulides showed him in Jordan, the kind that bear a striking resemblance to the Gabriel inscription.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Painted.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what's amazing though? They look to be all about the same thickness, and they're rough on the back.
Yes, this is the Gabriel is also rough on the back.
And it's smoothed out on the front.
Yes, this is exactly as the Gabriel one.
Musayev's stones come from Perea.
Yes?
Yeah.
And that's how it got to London.
Yeah.
And then he comes straight to you.
Yeah.
Since Rahani was the address for high-end archaeology that originated in Perea, and Musayef knew Rouhani for 45 years, Simcha decides to take a chance.
Okay, so what I want to know is this. Did you ever encounter a piece much bigger, 3 feet high, the one that was recently published?
I saw it. It is in Zurich.
Rechani showed it to you?
Sure, he showed me.
Why didn't you buy it?
Because he asked me such a big price.
How much did he ask for it?
$200,000.
$200,000. But what?
Damn, they were trying to rob him. He's like, "Oh, why didn't you buy the Gabriel slab stone?" Dude was trying to charge me $200,000, bro. He tried to charge me for a house, but to tell you the truth, being a so-called Jewish man, right? You would think that that would be nothing to them, you know. But yeah, $200,000 for that piece, right? That he wanted for that stone, right? Let me put the disclaimer on before I go ahead. And we're almost finished with the video in the class. Then I can, if anybody wants to join a live and discuss what I just brought out, we can discuss it. All right.
What would you have been prepared to pay at that time?
150.
You would have paid 150,000?
Yeah. No more.
Simcha's now unraveled many of the stone's secrets. The writing style, the archaeology, and the way the stone appeared on the antiquities market all point to Perea as its place of origin. Simcha has also discovered that a rebel named Simon came from this area, and that his followers thought he was a Messiah. Israel Knoll believes that he has found strong textual evidence suggesting that Simon's followers were the first to claim that their leader rose from the dead. The argument centers on a word mentioned on the stone that is meaningless to anyone except a biblical scholar. The word is domen, which means dung. But Knoll points out that every biblical reference to domen means one thing only: rotting flesh.
Sar Hasarim, Domen Arubot Surim, Prince of Princes, and he decomposed in a gorge because those who have killed him did not let his body to be buried.
Around the time of Jesus, the story on the stone seems to fit Simon and no one else. Simon's story goes like this. At first, Simon was successful. He defeated a Roman garrison and crowned himself Messiah. The Romans went after him with a vengeance, and they chased Simon into a Perean gully like this one. After a bloody battle, they decapitated him. To further demoralize his followers, they didn't allow.
Hi, I'm Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer. You might have seen me on Shark Tank, the NBC Today show.
Allow them to bury his body. This is the very story Knoll believes he has decoded on the stone.
But really, this makes sense. I can just see a battle, right? They can come in here. A few people can hold off a lot of people, but they can get surrounded. So the leader wants to get a little bit of a better position, right? He runs up a place like this. He's chased. He's literally met. He's surrounded from that side. He's decapitated. You know, he falls. He dies in a place like this, you know? And then, you know, there's bodies all over the place. And then it's easy to guard so that the followers can't come to even bury their dead.
Man, that Edomite has one hell of a imagination, bro. He was acting like a replication of a war scene or something, bro. What an imagination he had, man. And this is the stuff that we're talking about, right? So now all of a sudden it's talking about Simon, right? The whole story from the beginning of that now is talking about not Christ, but this Simon guy, right? But nowhere did we read in the writings of Josephus about this account that they're now talking about? Oh, about this Simon. Yeah, he talks about Simon, but not being a Messiah, not a Messiah that would be resurrected in 3 days, not a Messiah that had three shepherds, right, and had Herod killing every firstborn in the time of Simon, right? None of that's ever been discussed before. But now they're acting like it's, hey man, yeah, this is part of Jewish history, man. Yeah, it's not Christ. It's not Christ though. Even though that's the only story it comes from, right? It's ridiculous.
Down here, decomposing. Body is turned into dung. Domen. This word is used several times in the Bible where somebody is not allowed to be buried. His body stays outside and rats, like these animals that we see here.
But if Knoll is right, and Simon is the man memorialized on the stone, why would his followers continue to call him a Messiah after his violent death? After all, a Messiah was supposed to defeat his enemies, not be defeated by them. It is at this point that Knoll's detective work becomes most controversial.
You see? Did I tell you that the video is going to start switching? Now, wait a minute. If he was the Messiah and this and that, but now, wait a minute. All this whole storyline now seems controversial, right? Meaning, is it really talking about Simon? How can it be? Right? Told you that it was going to take a turn, right? Let me put this disclaimer up real quick. And then we get right back to the video because, like I said, we're almost done with it. Let me see.
We've been investigating an ancient Hebrew inscription written around the time of Jesus' birth that tells the story of a Christ-like figure who comes back to life 3 days after he's killed. Our sleuthing has led us to a man called Simon of Perea.
Simon's followers believed he was the long prophesied Savior, sent to free them from Roman rule.
Every text in the Hebrew Bible that talks about this king is coming, he does two things. He executes justice and righteousness in the land, and then he goes and conquers basically the entire world and brings it all under the rule of God. I mean, this is the Messiah. This is his resume, his job description. Josephus, the Jewish historian, tells us that the reason Herod fortified these desert places is he feared more than anything that a native king might rise in Perea, in Judea, in Galilee, and have some sort of claim to the throne. Now, this is very interesting. What could some peasant, like a Jesus figure, even before Jesus, we've got a number of people that come along. They don't have an army, they don't have power, they don't have the wealth or the influence of Herod. He could order 1,000 troops at any moment to do anything. What they have is this pedigree. If anybody is a descendant of King David and begins to get the religious call to say, I think I'm the one, there's the potential for hundreds of thousands of Jews to flock to this person and make him king.
Thousands of people did.
Put that disclaimer on. Like I said, we're almost finished, people. We'll open up the panel for anybody that wants to come on.
Did flock to Simon's side. He was crowned king and declared Messiah, Redeemer. In Greek, he was called Christ. At first, Simon seemed to be a God-chosen winner. He led his followers to victory. But then, the Roman army defeated him, decapitated him, and left him to rot in the desert. At that point, according to Knoll, Simon's followers did something revolutionary. Even after death, they continued to call him Christ.
So actually, out of the gravest crisis, a new idea comes. An idea that sees the suffering and the dying of the Messiah as an essential part of the process of salvation.
Change history.
Yes, of course. In the next generation, this ideology will be picked up by Jesus. It will be a leading ideology for his messianic activity. And later on, the Roman emperor was defeated by this ideology.
So it seems that Simon's followers turned this defeat into victory. The death of their Messiah, they said, did not disqualify him. In fact, his suffering proved that he was the Christ. According to Knoll, this theological spin was made possible by arguing that all along, Scripture predicted not one, but two Messiahs.
Now that's a fact. You heard what he just said. It doesn't talk about one Messiah, but two Messiahs. You know what else talks about two Messiahs, people? The Dead Sea Scrolls. Which I probably do a little class on that probably another day about the Dead Sea Scrolls and the two Messiahs that's in the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? So we're seeing all this stuff just come together, right? Beautifully just come together, right? So we all know what it's talking about. Right now, they're saying that the Simon is Christ now. So Simon is Christ. But I thought Christ didn't exist. I thought all that stuff was fairy tale. I thought the New Testament was fairy tale, according to these people. But you're about to see, and just in a short while, he's going to say, I think he's going to make this statement showing you how this stone has turned many of the Jews into Christians after learning about this type of history, right? And we're going to get into that in a second. But I guess this is working, bro. There's this disclaimer all the time, and then my video has not been taken down.
A winner from the line of David, and a suffering servant from the line of Joseph. If Knoll is right, the Gabriel Inscription, which is at least 400 years older than the earliest New Testament text.
You heard that? 400 years earlier than the New Testament text, bro. Telling you a lot of interesting stuff, bro.
Is the earliest document ever found mentioning a suffering Savior.
Now we have the perfect,
The smoking gun.
the smoking gun. The Messiah, son of David, and the Messiah, son of Joseph, are appearing in the same line in this document.
Two Messiahs.
Two Messiahs. The triumphal Messiah and the suffering Messiah are both here.
Again, people, did you just hear what he said? Who's the suffering servant? I thought, according to the Akkad and them, the suffering servant is the elect of Israel, which is all these many people. But now, again, you have the scholars over there telling you that, oh yeah, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and now, according to this scroll, there's two messiahs, right? One being a suffering servant. So who's the suffering servant of Isaiah 53 again, people? Oh, yeah. I guess Vega was right? When he broke down his class on Isaiah 53 against the Akkad, right? I don't know. But you guys ain't ready for that type of work, right? Let me share it again. Like I said, we're like a few minutes done, and that's it.
It's the earliest reference.
This is the earliest reference to a Messiah, son of Joseph. The suffering, dying, and rising Messiah.
Son of who? Son of Joseph.
Pretty revolutionary.
Wait, let me get this straight. Wait,
We've got a text now.
It says the son
It shows us this.
Telling you the son of Joseph. Who's the son of Joseph? It's not Christ's father, Joseph. Hmm. Hmm. I don't understand how these people are not putting one and one together. Hmm.
Notion of a suffering Messiah who's raised from the dead is already being developed within Judaism. So it's not something Jesus came up with. It's not something the disciples came up with. It's something that is beginning to develop out of the hard experience of the Jewish people. Now,
let's hear that
it
again.
shows us this notion of a suffering Messiah who's raised from the dead is already being developed within Judaism. So it's not something Jesus came up with. It's not something the disciples came up with. It's something that is beginning to develop out of the hard experience of the Jewish people.
Did you hear that? Yakad, Izzy, Yeshua. Did you hear that? This idea didn't come from the Christians. It didn't come from later on influence. No, this is something ancient. Let's hear that one more time. Let's hear that one more time. Because again, I don't think a lot of people are getting that stuff, bro. Let's hear that one more time. Yakad is getting bodied right now.
We've got a text now that
He says, we have a text now. Remember that, people. We have a text now, right? That dates before the New Testament, before all that ideology. No, bro. So when people say, oh, you guys get Christ from this thing and the Romans and the Council of Nicaea. No. No. According to 1st century BC, this ideology was already around, right? But they're not, the Yakad and them will never tell you these type of things, bro. And then you have to start asking yourselves, well, why? What's so big about this big secret that's going on here, right? But like I said, we're gonna hear it one more time for Izzy and them, Yeshua and them.
shows us this notion of a suffering Messiah who's raised from the dead. Now, it shows us this now.
Suffering, dying, and rising Messiah. Same line in this document.
Two Messiahs.
Two Messiahs. The triumphant Messiah and the suffering Messiah are both here.
And it's the earliest reference.
This is the earliest reference to a Messiah, son of Joseph. The suffering, dying, and rising Messiah.
And rising Messiah. Woo! Bro, these body bags hurt, bro.
Pretty revolutionary.
We've got a text now that shows us this notion of a suffering Messiah who's raised from the dead is already being developed within Judaism. So it's not something Jesus came up with. It's not something the disciples came up with. It's something that is beginning to develop out of the hard experience of the Jewish people, which is everyone we put our hope in is killed. Why is this happening to us?
No, I was just saying if anybody wants to hit the link and join the live and discuss what I brought out today, you can do so. And then I said I was going to put on some nice smoothing music, to get the mood going, whatever. All right. I see nobody wants to join the live. So I guess I'm going to say shalom. I hope you enjoyed the video and what I brought out today. Um, what do you mean no sound? You can't hear me? I don't know. You can't hear me? Oh, yeah, you can hear me, bro. Y'all bugging out, man. Yeah, like I said, I guess I'm going to head out. I'm going to say shalom. I guess nobody wants to join the live and discuss what was brought out. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I guess I'm going to say shalom.